Hey, it is Friday, May 18th, and I am really hooked on these strings. They've been on my guitar for a week now, and they are still sounding like they're not sounding like they're a week old. Richard, you did well, my friend. I think you got a convert here. Really like. Oh, these are the Santa Cruz strings. In case anybody missed my talking about them last week, and they are a little more supple than, and it might be again, it's the ratio of the core to the wrapping that is a little bit different. So I really like them. We'll have to see about spreading them out into the TG world a little bit soon. Maybe we'll come up with a plan for that. Okay, I better quit fooling around and get to the news. What has been going on this week? In case you missed it, we're having when we first started TG, I guess I have to divert into the story of this. The plan was to have the target program and really not sell lessons like individually. But that's, which made me make a lot of early lessons, referred to things in other lessons that you kind of needed to have access to know what I was talking about. So there are some, we created a little bit of a confusional problem when we decided that, hey, people asked about buying individual lessons. Well, anyway, the big news on the lessons is all the Beatles songs are on sale for the whole month of May for, like, I don't know, $6 or something like that, maybe $7, maybe $5. I forget. You can look it up. But if you're a single lesson fan, check out the sale we're having on Beatles tunes. What did we have this week? Max, of course, brought us another. Eric Clapton lesson on cocaine. Of course, J.J. Cale's song that I believe I have a version of J.J. Cale's version, but they're pretty similar. But anyhow, and Vanessa struck into another world. We added a new band. I don't think we had any Counting Crows songs until today. Goodnight Elisabeth. That's kind of another cool one. And this just took me forever. I really have to apologize. Anyway, ran into a bunch of obstacles with finishing that lesson, but it's done. So everybody that was taking a look at time passages, we can put that one to bed, and I can get on to my next project, maybe this. Kind of wait until I could play it. It's getting pretty close though. Anyway, that is a William Byrd piece arranged by lots of people over the years, written in 1612, shortly after the death of Robert Cecil, the Earl of Salisbury, who had been very kind to Byrd, who was really one of the most famous composers of his day, of the Renaissance. This is shortly after the Elizabethan period. We're into King James by now. Anyway, so thinking about it, it's time to get back to a classical lesson. I got a few others sort of I'm thinking about this one too. But I have to brush up on it a little bit more too. What else did we have? I want to talk a little bit about IGC, and then I'm going to talk about modes. Mark, great comments on the thing. By the way, loved the Mediocre Guitar Player magazine. I didn't know Neil used all 7 notes in Down by the River. There's a lot of E's. That's a different solo though. It's which one is that? In Cinnamon Girl maybe? Yeah. Cinnamon Girl is it's not E's though. It's probably D's. Anyway, Cinnamon Girl I think is the one that is running through my head with the famous one-note solo. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? The modes. I'm going to get back to that since Mark brought up a question about it, and I got diverted into the mediocre guitar playing thing. Now I do want a few little things about camp. We have only a couple people signed up for the Amsterdam camp, and we are going ahead with it anyway. So I'm going. Vanessa will be there, and we will spend a few days at Samaya with just a handful of guitar players. So if you're thinking about it and you want to have a kind of concentrated weekend with the two of us, it would be there's plenty of room because we just have a few people signed up, and we decided we're not going to cancel it. We're going to go have a good time in Amsterdam. So July 13th, Friday, July 13th, and run till Sunday morning. And so anyway, if you're thinking about it, it's going to turn out to be a lot more intimate than we thought, so to speak. And what else? A few new people signed up for California, which is great. We've got a couple of people who are coming to their first camp ever. We love it. Last year we had 3 who are all returning this year. So if you're afraid that it's camp seems like a cliquey group of people that see each other all the time, everybody that decides to come has decided to come back, usually, unless there's conflicts with other travel plans or some things. So the Asilomar camp, we still have a few spots available. There's I believe 4, maybe 5. We're trying to keep it to 35 people, and we could stretch it to 40 if we had to, but 35 is the perfect number. So if you're thinking about that one, there's still some room, and a lot of people are bringing spouses or significant others too. Monterey is just a fabulous place. There's so much to do there. You can't. It's ridiculous. So last year we had 4 or 5 partners there, and I think they're all really glad they came. So if you're thinking about making it a family vacation, it'd be a good idea. Let's see. I think I'm ready to talk about modes. So this is going to turn into as short a lesson as possible on modes, because all you have to do, a scale is just a sequence of notes that are specific distances apart. In all of the modes, the only distances that are used are whole steps and half steps, and there are always 2 half steps and 5 whole steps. That's the way our major scale works. It goes from C to C, no sharps and flats. Well, E and F fall at 3 and 4, and B and C fall at 7 and 8. Pretty simple. So every other major scale follows the C pattern. Whole step to 2, whole step to 3, half step to 4, whole step to 5, whole step to 6, whole step to 7, half step to 8. Now, I just did a G scale, which had an F sharp in it because it needed that to make the half steps fall the right places. Well, that C pattern is again the example of all major scales. Well, if we start on D and go from D to D with no sharps and flats, the half steps are in different places. Matter of fact, they're one slot earlier than where they were when we started on C, because it goes D, E, F. The first one is at 2 and 3. And the next one, instead of being at 7 and 8, will be at 6 and 7. That's the D pattern. The E pattern, they're going to go one earlier now. Now, 1 to 2 is going to be a half step. And the other half step that had been at 6 and 7 slips down to 5 and 6. So the E pattern would be a half step, a whole step to 4, whole step to 5, half step to 6, whole step to 7, and a whole step to 8. Okay, that was the E pattern done on G. I hope I did that all right. Yes, I did. Okay. So we get a different pattern from every one of our 7 letters. Each one puts the half steps in a unique place. Well, each one of those 7 different patterns is a different mode. So the F pattern, they move even earlier. The 1 to 2 half step starting on E has now been bumped to 7 to 8. And the one at 5 and 6 drops down to 4 and 5. So to play that F pattern, I would go a whole step to 2, whole step to 3, whole step to 4, half step to 5, whole step to 6, whole step to 7, and a half step to 8. Sounds really weird, huh? That's the F pattern. Okay, get the idea? 7 different patterns created by the 7 different natural notes where the half steps all end up being in unique places. Then you just learn the names. The A pattern is Aeolian. That's what we call minor scale though now. The B pattern is called Locrian. The C pattern is called Ionian. The D pattern, Dorian. The E pattern, Phrygian. The F pattern, Lydian. The G pattern, Mixolydian. Okay, now, I hope that didn't add too much confusion to what you already might know about it, but let's see. So play something in a mode, Neil. D minor. But the chords were all from the key of C. It was D minor, C, F, and G, not chords from the key of D minor. Chords from the key of D Dorian. Kind of based on a Gordon Lightfoot song. I bet some of you know, The Ghosts of Cape Horn. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Mixolydian. Based around G, but it kept using F chords. C, F, and G, but using G as the center. Mixolydian. Okay, I think it's time to get out of here. Happy May to everybody. See you next week.